my main takeaway, Dave Ubben, who covered the game, was holy shit.
So I thought that this possibility was on the board because I believe in Sean Lewis. The offense, is obviously strong. You have a quarterback that certainly has a lot of upside and might be really good, and we saw that. And they had a ton of speed at receiver. My big questions were, can they hold up on the lines? Defensive line held up better than I thought it was going to. And then the offensive line, they kind of coached around it in the first half. And you saw a little bit more, 5-step drops, a little bit more where the offensive line had to hold up in the second half when they got a little tired. But it's at the end of the day, like, this was a game that it was surprising. But after the first quarter, it seemed clear to me that, everybody has been wrong about Colorado all offseason. Every coach I've talked to, nobody really wants to come out and say a ton publicly, except for, Venables and Narduzzi. Every coach I've talked to, kind of a roll the eyes. This is a clown show. This is not college football. This can't work. This is the biggest serving of crow in college football since what? Vince Young?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think. Like, listen, I'll be the first to admit that earlier this week when we were on the show doing the picks and you were kind of going off a little bit on Colorado, I was like, I don't see it. And I watched the game with Chris Fedini at my house on Saturday, and I spent the first quarter wondering when TCU was going to wake up because I thought they weren't playing very well. Then I spent the second quarter wondering when Colorado's lines were going to get too tired to compete. Then I spent the entire second half wondering, holy crap, is Colorado actually going to win this football game?
When they went up double digits, I thought they were going to win.
Yeah. And like, it's funny to me. I made the comment during the game. I want to make it on this podcast. I thought that TCU played this game kind of the same way that Michigan played in the college football playoff against TCU last year, where it was like they were clearly, or it seemed like, the better football team. They kept turning the ball over inside the 15-yard line. They missed a field goal. They had weird, dumb penalties, and it just didn't seem like they were locked in. And if you would have had Colorado as the more physical, more disciplined, and more prepared team in this game on my bingo card, I would have lost. I lost my dignity on this game. I lost financial assets on this game. And I am kind of at the point right now where I'm just kind of like, this is actually working, And I never was a doubter that Deion Sanders could work or would work because of the larger-than-life personality that he is, the ability to recruit the way that he would, the transfer portal, all that stuff. Like, in the long run, I knew that it would be better than it was. But the fact that, like, this is, like, probably an 8-win team if they can stay healthy and their line can hold up, maybe even a better than that in the Pac-12, I don't know. Like, I did not see this coming. And the good news is here that we knew Travis Hunter was one of the 5 best players in college football before this year started. If you pay attention to college football recruiting, if you pay attention to, just kind of his career arc, you should have seen tonight coming. He played 129 snaps, though. This man's got to be the most in-shape human being I ever have seen at this level. Like, I don't even know who the last true two-way player has been who made it through a season like this besides Chris Gamble in 2002. Maybe I'm forgetting somebody. But he had 11 catches, 119 yards, probably 2 touchdowns that he could have had in the first half if it wasn't for a drop and a penalty. And then, of course, Shedeur Sanders comes out and is the first player in Colorado history to throw for 500 yards, 510 yards, 4 passing touchdowns, 80% completion percentage. And I'm just running through the stats here, Dave, because I'm going to let you cook. But when he was playing, it never really felt like Shedeur was having, like, the greatest game in the world. I thought he did a good job just kind of taking what was there. And then all of a sudden you look up and the guy has 400 yards, 500 yards, of total offense. And it's like, this game is really, really good. And the thing I think that people underlook the most, Dave, is that Colorado isn't just a clown show led by a loud person who likes to talk shit in press conferences. They hired a really good staff. And one last thing too. Dylan Edwards You've been telling people he was going to be really, really good.
I've been trying. I've been told people he's the third best player on the team for like a month.
But instant impact player from a guy of his size and his ranking to come over and score as many touchdowns as he did. Like, I feel like at the very least, no matter what happens with Colorado for the rest of the year, they are appointment television.
Well, so I was discussing this with some people in the press box, and we can tackle this question in a minute, but it's a fair question, I think. Will Colorado 2023 be the most entertaining team in the history of college football? Because, for one, you have the experiment, the whole, Frankenstein's monster of putting all these pieces together. You have Deion, who, again, every time he steps in front of the microphone, he did it again today. You just don't really know what he's going to do. He went after Ed Werder today. He's the keeping receipts and firing off, plenty of takes. My guys should be in the Heisman, the front runners for the Heisman. Mind you, it's September 2nd. I've never heard a coach say anything about the Heisman. Certainly not week one, but like Deion's like, I'm going to promote my guys. And then, of course, they're playing entertaining football. So, like, I think at the end of the day, Deion, Colorado, the team, they seem like college football is many things. But if we've learned nothing over the summer, it's that college football is, above all else, a very entertaining, very valuable television show. And Colorado seems like the one program in college football who seems to understand that. And they are making incredible content, literally and figuratively. So there's that aspect of it. We can talk about the rest of that later. So from an X's and O's standpoint, it's worth talking. So Sean Lewis, what they were doing in the first half, after the first quarter, you didn't really know what to expect, but there was the idea that this was going to be a clown show disaster. I mean, 2 drives? You're like, okay, well, that's not going to happen. This team looks competent. They're clearly prepared. But there's something to be said for this sort of marriage between Sean Lewis and Shedeur Sanders. We knew Shedeur had some arm talent. He's clearly done a lot, but we haven't seen him play against big-time players because of, we've chronicled this on the show, playing in the private schools in Texas, playing this out. We just hadn't seen it. Clearly, when you watch him, you see the arm talent. But there's something to be said for when there's a guy that's open, I'm going to throw a catchable ball and hit him. And I agree with you that I didn't see anything from Shedeur today that was like, oh my gosh, I've never seen a quarterback do this before. But there's not that many college quarterbacks who, when a guy is open, they're going to hit him 95% of the time. You didn't see him, oh, I threw it behind that guy. Oh, it's in the dirt. Like, the amount of throws that Shedeur misses, minimal. I don't think I saw one today where I was
I don't remember any. I don't remember any.
Exactly. Where it's like, you should have it. You should have the ball, where it needs to go. And certainly he's running for his life a couple times. Took 4 sacks today. But, like, Colorado held up on the lines. TCU was able to run the ball. Not enough. Kendall Briles, I think because of all the noise today, the play calling from TCU was, not strong. I feel like they needed to lean more on the running game. But this is not a media thing. This is not a fan thing. This is not a coach thing. Like, everybody did not see this coming. I got a text from a Pac-12 coach in the middle of the game saying, well, I didn't see this one coming. And I think that's probably fair. Like, it's everyone. I think if you weren't wearing black and gold on Saturday, this perked up, and now it's only going to build. And I think also when you talk about this Colorado team and what's ahead, 3-0 going out to Oregon, I'd say that's probably pretty likely. And that's going to be a massive, massive ball game. I will be there, fortunately. But I think when you look at just it's a game unlike anything I've seen before, because we have never seen a program like this before. And I'm, going to remember this ball game for a long time. And I suspect a lot of people will. And I wrote this column in June, and I still think it's true that if this works, and it looks like it's going to work, I think Deion changed the sport forever today. Call it hyperbole, but I really do think that.
Yeah. It's just kind of like changing the sport forever means that you got to find another person like him. And I'm sure
it's not so much that it's that you can build through the portal, and that you're going to see a lot of guys when a new coach comes in, this process the players, get the guys out, fish in the portal. I think a lot of coaches, because there was a stigma against it, even though it was legal, like Lincoln did this to 10 guys last year, I think. and caught some heat for it. Not quite the same as Deion. Deion, you can call it quitting, call it, how many meetings you took, whatever. Like, they made it very clear that they didn't want a lot of these guys back. So I think technically they cut 20 to 30 guys. I mean, it's sort of how you want to define it is sort of a question. But ultimately, I wrote that it's not going to be, well, we maybe could do this. It's that I think there's going to be a lot of hires in the future, especially when you take over a bad situation like Colorado. I feel like they have to do this.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you, Dave. I said it on the podcast on Thursday, and I remained convinced of it for most of the day until the second quarter started. But I thought 59-14, 59-0 was on the table today. Like, I thought that it was possible that TCU would come out disciplined, hungry, tired of everybody talking about how awesome Colorado is, and just beat the crap out of them, pull the air out of the sails a little bit, and kind of bring everybody back down to earth. And I think the exact opposite happened here. I think not only did Colorado win, but they won a very entertaining football game that everybody was watching. It wasn't just like they happened to win. Like, it was a back and forth shootout that they won in exciting fashion. And then of course
they took a punch and stood up and got back up off the mat and said, no. Like, TCU took back control of that game. They were up double digits and lost that lead, and Colorado said, no. We're still going to keep playing.